Hi, how's it going? This is Chris over at 3D Palace, and if you've watched the previous three parts of this set, you'll know that we built our portal or doorway or whatever you want to call it in 3ds Max. And now what I've done is I brought it over to Hypershot just to apply some materials to it so we can look over it, see what we think of it. Now, with this model here, it's only 6,200 polygons for everything that you see here. And it's modeled in metric on real scale, so in theory you can unwrap this and you can have fun dumping it into your favorite 3D application without breaking too much of a sweat, and then throwing it into a games engine. It's very low poly. It wouldn't hurt, to be honest, if you went and fixed the quads in it and then threw it into something like Mudbox, made some normal maps for the detail. But I mean, you don't have to. A lot of it can be driven just by textures, and part of that is what I'm going to show you here. Now, if you've never used BunkSpeed, Hypershot, just go to bunkspeed.com. When you install the application, and it is quite expensive, but students get it very, very cheap. You basically start with this, which is just 6 big friendly buttons. So you click on Open Model. Now, you may remember in the last one we exported our portal untextured base mats applied low poly, and if you remember, we made the y-axis our up axis, not our z-axis. That tends to be a thing very local to 3ds Max. 3ds Max uses the z-axis for up. A lot of other applications use the y-axis. So because we did that, if we click, it doesn't take long to open, which is cool. Just keep everything the way it is. Okay, I'll just close this for the moment, just so it's out of the way. And you'll see this is our multicolored thing that we got, you know, from 3ds Max. This is our very simple doorway scene file. Now I'm going to go over a little bit of navigation in this. I mean, this is an optional part, but we'll go over the navigation anyway. Most of it's done by holding down the Alt key, and then left mouse button and Alt key is going to rotate. Now you'll notice it goes very pixelated when we do that. That's because it's doing real-time calculations and rendering it similar in a way to the way that Brazil does it. Okay. Now if we use the Alt and the middle mouse button, you'll see we can pan. And if we do an Alt and the right mouse button, that allows us to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, well, let's start with some basic things here. You'll notice we've got glass, hard plastic, leather, mesh, metals, other, paint, rubber, soft touch, transparent, velvet, wood, and X-ray. And the materials all do what they say on the tin. Once you get used to using this, you can even have light emitting materials, which is really good fun. For example, you could make these two pillars here basically lights, and it would just go straight emitting shadows and emitting light, and then calculating it with global illumination. It's pretty damn cool. Okay then. What we're going to do here, and welcome Solar Kid, who's just dropped into the live chat system and is amusing us by asking why you can't fast forward a live broadcast. Well done, my friend. What we're going to do is choose a nice colour for the floor. Now if you look, we've got hard plastic floors. Now if things are unwrapped, we can apply textured materials. For example, the marble, if we apply it to this, will look particularly nice as long as we've unwrapped it in the first place. It doesn't need to all be unwrapped. We don't have to unwrap down in these little pits here, for example, but it helps. Now let's see what we've got. It's probably under other. Here we are. We've got things like matte black, marble, fiberglass, asphalt. Now to apply material, you don't click and drag. That doesn't work. Oh wait, no, it does now. It didn't work in the last version. Another way though of applying materials is to left click whilst holding shift, and then right click whilst holding shift on whatever you want to apply it to. So for example, left click on sandy bottom, which is something that I believe Chris in local chat will know all about, and then right click on the floor here. And as you see, if we give it a few just to render itself out, we get quite a nice accurate rendering coming out here. Okay, then now let's see what else we've got. We've got white marble, which is the one that I prefer to use. So if I just click and then right click here, and we'll make these pillars white marble too, so anything that I'd applied that coloured texture to will then change colour, and these ones. Okay, so what else can we use on here? Well, we've got a matte clay, so let's see what else is left to go here. Okay, this will give us a chance. What is pogs? Someone's asking in the channel, what's a pog? Grief. Anyway, what I'm going to do is choose some suitable materials for this. Now, we don't get the fun of exporting this into 3ds Max, so we can't just try and make it pretty and then export it into Qt. This is really for previewing. But what I'm doing is I'm showing you how easy it is to make a nice kind of maquette background that we can then use for something else, yeah? So, let's see what we have here. Paints. So let's choose, in fact, let's let the people who are in the chat system decide which colour we're going to paint the walls. So, which colour do you guys want me to paint the walls, you people in the live system at the moment? I'll give you 10 seconds and then I'm going to choose one anyway. Puce. Yeah, this is why you don't ask 3D Palace members anything. The hell colour's puce, for God's sakes? I think I'll just paint this myself. So I left click on the stone grate, and I'll pretend I can't read anything that's happening in 3D Palace live chat system now, because it's disturbing and unpleasant. And all I'm doing is just rotating around the model the same way that I would with 3ds Max. Find one that I like. Now, that stone grey was okay, but what else have we got here? We've got marble 2, carbon fibre. Let's see what the marble looks like. Got some funky patterns going on simply because we didn't unwrap this. But this is all about experimentation. Like I say, if we had unwrapped this first, we wouldn't have these artifacts. And I think what I'll do is I'll go over this a little bit on the unwrapping side, just to give you guys an idea of how to get started for you guys that have never done it before. It's not very hard. Foam. Foam sounds fun, doesn't it? And hard plastic. It's nice because it's quite realistic materials when you apply them. Well, quite very realistic materials when you apply them. So what's going to make a nice colour for this background? I mean, I could do it all in metals, I suppose. Lovely metal pillars in gunmetal. To be honest, I think the best thing to do is just going to be going and using lots of plenty of white here. Like so. And then for the backgrounds there, a bit of stone grey. Like that. And this nice red pearl here, which I think would make a nice colour perhaps for this surround on the door. And then inside from that, let's see, black? No, black's awful, don't want black. Let's go and find a nice fiberglass. And then over here, some metal. Nah, I don't want metal. We'll have some hard plastic instead. Just an automotive plastic, just there. because nothing really says modern like automotive plastic. And then if I just rotate this around, you can see how it's applying these. Yes, this is the 64-bit version of Hypershot, which is why it's considerably faster than the version I was using last time. Now, once we've had enough fun messing around with our materials that we've just applied to this in Hypershot, what I can do is right-click on the options dialog twice, because when you close it, it thinks it's still active. And we can open an environment image. So I'll just click on there. And we've got all these lovely things here. Now then, let me see, a German dirt road. Well, let's have a vote. Who wants the German dirt road? And who wants Torino Palace sunset? I'll just wait a few seconds while they decide. Taking too long. German dirt road, there we go. I had a feeling they'd choose that. There we go. And now it'll apply lighting calculations from the HDRI map directly onto this. Yeah, that's exactly why I thought you guys would choose German dirt road. If I open the environment image, I can stick in a plain white in the background, and it won't actually affect the HDRI. And other things that I get to do here as well is if I go into my camera, I can change the camera options, including focal length and depth of field. And under my rendering options here, depending on whether you're using the Pro or the HD version, you can choose the render output size and then render your image. Over here in the Pro version we've also got render queues, which is useful for if you've got extremely detailed images going on. And then over here, of course, you've got your rendering settings for real time. So I can reduce the ray bounces, which will make this a little bit quicker. Or you can really up things as well, so you can have detailed direct illumination. Drop in some higher shadow quality. Really make it work for its money. The thing is that a lot of the time the quality of the renders that you get off this are going to be high enough quality really to pass as if you'd mashed the render button in the first place. All you've got to do is leave it for about 5 minutes and the quality that comes out is really, really nice. The poly count's about 6,500. Now what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to close this down and drop back into 3ds Max again. The people who are obviously watching the tutorial won't see the transition. Whereas for me it'll be a harrowing, long-winded affair whilst I wait for 3D Studio Max to load. So I'm just going to click and pause. Okay, welcome back. So, not that you noticed anything, I just paused while I loaded up 3ds Max because, like I say, I wanted to show you just a little bit of how easy it can be actually to just do a little bit of unwrapping on this. Okay, and also show you how you can start doing some unwrapping. So what I'm going to do is just click here, press F4 so I can see what I'm doing, right click, and I'm not going to convert it, I'm just going to isolate the selection. Now then it should have the name Portal Floor or something like that. Yeah, it has. Now what I want to do is just unwrap this part straight out. So if I just grab this, and I'll do a quick UVW unwrap first, UVW map. And then on top of this I'm going to stick probably just a plane for the moment, and I'm going to align that to the Z-axis and mash fit, because the majority of the stuff I want to map's down here anyway. Okay, now on top of this I'm then going to put an unwrap UVW, and then I'm going to do pretty much all our work using that. So, you'll see we've got these big funky yellow seams going around the outside. This is where 3ds Max, thinking it's being helpful, has decided to try and calculate where the big seams of this are, and it always gets it wrong. So if I click edit, and then I'll try and work out where my window's gone. There it is. Right. Now I've got the checker pattern going on in the background because we all love the checker pattern going on in the background. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start isolating off pieces of this and just unwrapping them as we go. So first things first, I'm going to grab all of this, use the scale tool and just scale it down a bit, and then I'm going to move it off to one side. That way it's out the way. Next, what I'm going to do is, and for this it's going to be more helpful putting that there, bringing this along. I'm going to open up my Unwrap UVW and I'm going to go into face selection mode. Now we've got some big faces here, so if I select these just here, and what I'm going to do is I can just do a quick planar map on these. If you see, it's even trying to calculate the planar for us. So if I do that, they just appear here like this. Now let's look at the shape. Yep, that's fine. Now I'm just going to reduce them in size and then do a little bit of modification to this. Now I can either start scaling it around using these tools, or I can grab this one. What I like about this tool is it allows you to do scaling pretty much on the fly, non-uniform style. Now I'll drop into vert. Let's have a look at this. I'm just checking the size of these pieces. Bring this one in a little bit more. Remember, hold shift just to constrain it to one axis when you're moving things. It does make things a lot easier. Then this one here, move it along a little bit. And then these two, if I grab these, shift and drag it along to about here. Okay, now I'm going to move these out the way, up into the corner, because we've got another just over here that we're going to be doing. Make sure we got them all and just do a quick planar again. And bring it down and over to here. Okay, and now if I just use the freeform mode again, which is an excellent tool, like I say, go to edge mode. No, vertex mode, not edge mode. Okay, and start manipulating these a little bit. Just here as well. Then here. Now just a case of moving these to line up with each other. That one's slightly smaller than this one, so if you want to, you can just scale them so they're more or less the right size like that. Okay, now let's look down upon this, and what I'm going to do is go into face mode again. And just start selecting all these parts here. Now as you can see, we've got some excess polygons going on down there, which we could have done with cleaning up with before we'd started doing this, but it doesn't really make very much difference at all for us. Let's just try and get in and select as much of this as we can, because I'm going to use the grow tool to select the rest. Almost always easier just using the grow tool and then deselecting the parts that we don't want later on. So just click the grow and then the shrink. There we are. Let's grow it a bit more, in fact. I can just deselect those parts in a minute. Just want to make sure it gets to the base of these pillars, which it should. Okay, that seems fine. Next, you'll notice it's kind of a funky diamond shape as well, which is most nice. Now I'm going to deselect these fellows, because we don't need to have these selected twice. There we are. And just click quick plane art, and there we go, we've got this. And I'm just going to move it over here for the moment. Rotate it round. I've got angle snap on, which makes things easier because I just want to move it 45 degrees. And if I move it to about here, we can see that we've got the size more or less right for what we need. So maybe I'll make this a teeny bit smaller. Okay, and I want to move in down here. Now, here you can see this is where the cylinders aren't, but we do have some issues here that I want to deal with and address now. So what I'm going to do is start selecting these faces. And yes, there are all sorts of funky and useful tools here, like loop and ring. You see? Some of them are actually useful and helpful, but unfortunately not right this second. To Nurl, who's just dropped in, this is part of the new MT set. MT set 2 portals. Okay, now if I bring that in, not too much though, just a little bit, and then I'm going to click the grow button, bring, and then it should, I say should, have brought these parts now down. Now then, if I want to texture these parts here, then I think I'm going to have to click, let's see, I think I'll actually have to individually select these ones, unfortunately, which is a bit of a pain. So I'll do these one at a time in just a minute once I've done these ones. So for this, again, same as before on the other side, I select these two, scale them in just a little. I'm going to do them one at a time though. Oops, clicking the wrong button. Shift and drag. And then grow it again. And again. Should be enough in order to stop the banding that we've had. And then over here, as we can see, it's gone a bit all over the place here, which is a shame because I thought I'd deselected that one. However, we can repair it easily enough just by moving them back into place. There we are. Now then, over here we haven't done this one yet. The reason we're doing this is 90-degree angles facing away from us, because we have the sides of these little pooled areas where we have detail in. If we do this, where we select all these parts and then kind of scale them in like this, and then grow it, and then scale them in again, don't worry, that one's just leapt out. I'll just move it back in again. And basically continue doing this. It means that we're unwrapping the inside of the piece and we're allowing a map, some texture map to be placed on top of this. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. It's just I'm showing a fast way of doing it, to be quite honest. If I start showing them how to cut each piece out individually and then do it that way, then we're going to be here for a while, and I'm kind of going to demonstrate that anyway using the pillars. Pillars. I mean, it's a valid point you've made there, Poopin, but really it's down to how much time I've got. I did that when I was doing the which set was it again? I think the Ed 209, where I showed how you take each individual part apart, and it took 11 hours, and it wasn't even the high polygon one. It's just really a case of having the time to be able to do it. So I'll just grow this out. I mean, you get a better effect if you're going to cut them out, move them to another area, and then scale it for texture painting. It depends how much detail you're going to have inside it, to be quite honest. Okay. Now, let's look at these pillars over here. If I just go straight through them here, and what I'm going to do is click on cylindrical, and we can fit it to this like so, and you'll notice that we've got the map here now. So if I move this over to here, need to turn that off before we move it. This is our map for the first of the pillars. I'll just turn off the thing in the background there, and if I turn to edge mode, you can see it's actually quite even as well, which is really nice. I can do the same again over here. So just edge, select those, well, face select those, and again cylindrical, just make sure we click fit, turn it off again. That was 1.9 regarding which version of Hypershot was being used. Like I say, it looks better with Hypershot if we use it for, I'll just grab all these, it needs to be scaled in a bit. Hypershot looks better when we use it for things like weapons and things like that. Things that have a lot of mechanical detail. I mean, I'm going to use it next week when I do that piece that I was showing you in the actual channel. However, it's just a case of, you know, how much time you're going to have as much as anything. Right, we can see these two top pieces here. I'm just going to select those. I'm just going to make sure that I've got all the parts of this pillar selected, and I haven't. It didn't select the back parts. Ignore back facings turn on. That would explain everything. It's normally not turned on by default, so they must have changed it. Okay, so I'll just quickly select this. Cylindrical, fit. Move it to there. I'll do it again with this one. Cylindrical, fit. Thanks, Poopin. I was wondering when someone was going to post that in the channel. How refreshing. Okay, and then on the tops of these, obviously we have this and this. So I'll just click planar. And you'll notice that we have two of these fellows here. But they're not even remotely important, and I can just put them one on top of the other one. We never see the top anyway, so let's just scale it away. I'll move it over here so I don't forget that I've got it. Now let's grab these. I'm just going to move these over here for the moment. Grab this. Now a lot of this is like reverse jigsaws, trying to get pieces to fit in. So let's put this piece over there, like that, and stick these tops over here. Like I say, they're not important, we're not going to detail them. You can literally make them as tiny as you want. I've got these two little pieces left over here, which I suspect, in fact I don't suspect, I know they're the inside of this piece here. So what I'll do is just turn this upside down, grab those, and then I'm just going to do a cylindrical on it, like that, which I'll then click fit on, and you'll see we've got this shape here. Again, depending on how large you want it, for how much detail you're going to put in it. Probably not very much, unless you're going to get close to it and have people examining it in the scene that you're working on. Just pop it over there. Now let's have a look under here. And what I want to do is just select this piece. I'm just going to go around it. Just like so. Try and get all of it rather than miss a couple of bits. Just quickly rotate it to make sure I have. Okay, I'm going to click cylindrical and fit. And you'll notice we've got this shape here now. And I'm going to scale that right down like so. Probably just pop it here. And then again the same on the other side. And I hope you guys who are watching the channel are going to go and do something creative later on. That doesn't include spying through people's windows. There we go. And another cylindrical. Scale this one up a little bit. To be honest, if you're going to use exactly the same texture, we can do what we did before, where we just dump it on top of the other piece. It's entirely up to you though, so if you want to dump it on top of the other piece, you can. Yes, Lee, it is creative. Thank you for asking. We can do the same thing as well to this part under here, depending again on how detailed you want to make it. One of the things you have to remember is, especially if you're applying kind of a uniform map to everything, say you're going to put, I don't know, wood grain travelling through it or whatever, you have to take into account the relative size of pieces. So say you've got a massive, great big space in your map. Rather than going, oh well, look at that big space in my map, in here I shall put such and such, and putting like this very small piece, when it comes to applying the wood texture, you'll then have a massive wood texture on that small part and on nothing else. So you have to view it relatively. You have to think to yourself, well, why am I going to fit there? Why am I going to fit that there? Cylindrical, click fit. See, this is what I like. You end up with a really big looking bit like this that's just too big. Scale that down. Freeform scale it. A little bit wider. I think it's going to fit into that piece quite nicely actually. There we are. Now then, let's have another look at this and see what else we've got in here. No, it's all looking okay. I always like to have a quick walk around on my model just to make sure things are working the way they should. Never in a million years imagine your model is going to work the way it should. Okay then, so what we're going to do is, and yes, you may have noticed we have these two tiny pieces here, and I have neither the time nor inclination to work out what they are yet, but if I select it and hit Z, we can see it's some sort of a ring piece, which let's see if we can find it on the main model here. We probably can't because it's probably something incredibly tiny. So what I'm going to do is grab that there and do a planar and a fit on it, which will make it enormous probably. There you go, told you it would. But at least it's uniform now, and then I'll just scale it down and stick it in the lost pieces area. actually getting close enough to do anything with it. Stupidly thin object. Select this inside edge here. And let's see, ring. Nope, loop, my mistake. Scale it in. Ha, now you've got to move. Right, now select everything. I'm going to rotate it all about 90 degrees. Move it down here. Now at the moment you'll notice it's not fitting in there. Oh no, we think, what can we do? This is terrible, etc. Doesn't matter. Move that part to there. Now then, let's look at where these things can be better positioned. Grab that. Like so, just move that out of there. I'm going to grab these as well. Better use face grab rather than the other method. Move those over to there. Move this out of the way. Now then, get this. Pop it just there. This needs to be shrunk down just a tiny bit. Not too much. Okay, and pop it to about there. Now these, stick it in that corner. This part here will nearly fit there. May have to scale it down a little bit. I'll move this edge back a little bit. You know what? I can't wait to see that either. For anyone who's wondering what's being asked in the channel, don't ask. Just turn up at the next one and you'll be horrified like the rest of us. That to that. And I'm going to interactively scale these pieces. Grab this one. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to grab this half and go to Tools and just attach edge verts. Because then I can bring both these up to about here. Pop them in there, like so. Then down here, if I grab that, which will make it a bit bigger, it's not doing much. Grab this, stick this in the crap pile. There we are, and pull out. Okay then, so hit F3 and we have our piece here, and if I just grab a material by slowly mashing M, and we'll use the old tried and tested favourite material in the world to check whether or not you have something going on, of the checker map. Everyone loves the checker map. It's your favourite, isn't it, Poop and Clumpin'? You love the checker map. 3 on 3, clicky draggy, and 10, 10, 20, 20, Ray, there we go. And that is how remarkably easy it is to unwrap something. Okay, all you have to do is do that to your entire model, and it won't take you very long. This is about the most tricky, complicated piece of the entire model. Right, so I'm going to call it a day. I wasn't intending to show you guys how to do some UVW unwrapping, but I'm glad I did. I feel we've shared something special today. So, until the next MT set, MT3, which is possibly going to add on to this one. I know what it is. It's a environmental prop. I'll see you in the next set, and until then, thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.